Moscow woke up to a new reality at dawn. 42 cruise missiles and 18 Lancet drones forced a billion-dollar air defense grid to light up like a pinball machine. This is the story of Operation Winter Strike, how a sub-$4 million package and a $25,000 decoy turned Russia's capital into a radar trap, not to destroy, but to humiliate. Stay with me and I'll show you the exact deception sequence, the spiral gate, timing, and why cost asymmetry, not firepower, decided who owned the sky over Moscow that morning. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Kremlin has threatened to destroy all fighter jets sent by NATO nations to Ukraine after Poland and Slovakia announced that the supply of this equipment cannot affect the outcome of the special operation, but it will bring additional troubles to Ukraine and its people. Dmitry Peskov called the move another example of how NATO members are increasing their direct level of involvement in the ongoing conflict.
You expect shattered glass and burned steel. You get radio silence breaking, siren stacking, and screens that won't agree. How does a decoy the price of a small car kick a capital's defense net into full surge? Operation Winter Strike was built to bruise ego, not buildings. The target wasn't the Moscow city towers' concrete, it was the system that guarded them. The package was lean on cost and heavy on friction, provoke the network, drain the magazines, jam the decision loop. You don't need craters to make a skyline feel exposed. You need operators who can't trust what they see. Russia's belt of sensors, guns, and missiles looks tight on paper. But a low-cost Lancet 10,000, broadcasting the skin of a full-sized fighter, slips through the seams of certainty. It feeds a radar return that checks the right boxes, then lingers at the edge of coverage, then darts just enough to suggest a strike package. High-end interceptors spool up because the threat profile says, premium. The goal isn't to defeat the best missile. It's to make it launch on the wrong thing.
In Zaporizhia direction, Russia is intensifying its offensive with a series of mechanized assaults to pin down the defenders and disrupt their attention, while another Russian group is assaulting from the east. The Russian forces attempted a new tactic to breach Ukrainian lines, but the defenders were already on high alert.
The deception stack opens with the decoy to seed ghost tracks. You throw one, maybe two, at different ranges. Controllers tag them, hand them off, and start building a picture that looks alive. Then cruise missiles arc in on timers, not in a wall, but in loose lanes. Their paths bend around known emitters and force red asking. The follow-on is Lancet drones that care less about hard kills and more about where eyes point. They claw at attention, hold it, and make every console feel one event behind. Modern integrated air defense lives or dies by sensor confidence. If the net believes its own picture, it is fast and lethal. Spoofed signatures, staggered bearings, and saturation pull that belief apart. When operators doubt the track file, they slow down or they overshoot. Either way, they leak time. And time is the rarest thing in a control room.
This allows the defenders to detect enemy movement in time and start engaging them in the kill zone, denying them. Due to this, Ukrainian operators are monitoring up to 15 kilometers behind the front line with drones. The Ukrainians were able to eliminate the Russian vehicles before they were able to reach the positions and create a direct threat.
Here's the spiral gate timing. You don't send everything at once. You open a window for the first ghost, then close it as the interceptors commit. A beat later, you crack a second window on a different axis, just as radars rotate tasks and batteries reset. By the third window, the first intercept is mid-course, crews are chasing data links, and command is juggling whose picture to trust. The next ingress slips in while attention locks on the last splash report. It's not speed that wins. It's cadence. Cost hits harder than shrapnel in this fight. A volley of interceptors is a fortune. Radar tasking burns fuel and life hours. SAM reloads chew up minutes that can't be bought back. The Ukrainian spend stays under a few million, the defense bleeds far more in missiles fired, crews diverted, and readiness shaved off the next shift. That's the math that bends doctrine. While the grid hunts ghosts, 2 MiG-29s run the floor. They keep radios cold, emissions low, and their paint less shiny to the bands that matter. Terrain masking does the rest. Rivers, rail cuts, and tower shadows break radar cones into slices. Phantom 1 and 2 ride those slices, never long in any beam, never loud on any scope. Old jets, new discipline. That's enough. They don't chase buildings. They stalk emitters. Anti-radiation shots don't need a perfect map when the air is noisy. Every panicked radar pulse is a flare in the dark. Each burst of jamming gives away a node to avoid or to threaten. Even near misses change the tempo, because a unit that flinched will flinch again. And the next spiral gate is already opening. By the time the capital's operators think they've caught up, the southern grid shows a dip. Not a blackout. A sag. That's crews out of breath, batteries light on tubes, and command channels stacked with handoffs that didn't land clean.
Becoming the first NATO member to send fighter jets to the country. Poland's move was followed by Slovakia, which promised 13 jets, necessary equipment. Now, on Thursday, Poland announced that it will be sending 4 MiG-29s to Ukraine
are so that they can protect their civilians from the amount of bombs that have been hitting their homes and shelters where civilians are dying.
The skyline still stands, but the prestige took a hit. Humiliation doesn't leave smoke, but it lingers longer than dust. The point lands like a quiet thud. A cheap decoy draws gold-plated missiles. Staggered timing draws the picture thin. 2 aging jets draw the map they want. Now that you've seen the trigger and the panic, let's dissect how those fulcrums turned a pride project into a live-fire test of a shield that swore it couldn't be touched. Control wasn't measured in craters. It was measured in how fast a defense spent, how often it swung and missed, and how long crews stared at the next blip with doubt. That's ownership of the sky. If you track how deception beats steel, subscribe. Comment your choice below, more interceptors, or smarter decoys and EW. What would you do when cost decides who moves first and who hesitates? The lesson stands. Tempo forces errors, spoofing rots trust, resilience carries the next volley. Expect more contests won by cost, not caliber. And the next silhouette that spooks a billion-dollar grid may be cheaper than the last.